Welcome back to another episode of The Goodall Show, where we learn how to grow, motivate you to grind, and encourage you to give. I am James Goodall, your host, and we have had a busy week. We played a basketball game on Tuesday night. We have a basketball game tonight. Today is Friday. We had the best game the varsity has played all year. We lost to a team by 15 in the beginning of the season. We just beat them by 30. They're in our tournament 2 weeks from now, and we are not going to beat them by 30 again. So it's going to be a closer game. But we played very well. We were on fire. They were in foul trouble. It was just like a perfect storm for us. 2 weeks left in the season, and, I'm excited for the season to end, as in the last week of the season is always our best week because of the tournament, but then I'm ready to be focused on other stuff. We finally got that contract secured officially that I talked about last week with the town. Everything's good. Council voted on it. We're good to go. Just got to get everything in place so we're ready to go for the season so we can move forward. And what is the best way to get all of these 60, 70 areas done? I want to talk about at the end of this conversation, I have a conversation with Scott from Pennsylvania, and he doesn't have a lawn care business, but he has a home remodeling business. Been doing it for 8 years. Started small, started on his own. Now he's growing. So we're going to find out a little bit about him. But after, I'm going to have have a talk for 5 minutes about how I pay myself. Because over the last 4 or 5 weeks, it seems like on TikTok and YouTube, and then people messaging me on email when on the goodallshow@gmail.com. They've asked me, hey, how do you pay yourself, right? What's the best way? And honestly, I don't know the best way. I just know how I've done it and what has worked for me. So after we have a conversation with Scott, I'm going to talk about how I pay myself. So you want to stick around for that. I appreciate you guys listening. Look, the book of the week last week was The Millionaire Next Door. Like I said, a lot of stats in there, common sense. The people that look rich most likely aren't the richest, right? The people that don't look rich, sometimes they are the ones that have the most money. This week, How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins. He wrote the book Good to Great. And I'm actually just reading this book. So I can't tell you everything about this book, and I can't tell you what's going to happen at the end. I don't know exactly because I'm only about 3 chapters in. But as of right now, absolutely love it. Why do these big companies that even they studied in Good to Great, they studied some of these companies in the book Good to Great, why did they fall? Or why have they gone down? Why aren't they the same company? And so far, I'm probably listened to about an hour and a half of it, 2 hours of it. So far, I love it. So if you want to pick up that book, highly recommend it. Highly recommend Good to Great. We're not going to talk about that today. But How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins. We're going to get this conversation. If you want to be on this show, message me on Instagram. Love having you guys message me. I got to filter them through. I got to just pick one. It's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Message me on Instagram. And more importantly, if you guys don't have a lawn care company, message me. Because I like having conversations with lawn care guys. But at the same time, I even almost like it more conversations with that we can learn from other businesses and other industries. So message me on Instagram, email me at thegoodallshow@gmail.com, and we'll get this conversation started.
I'll take you back 18, and that'll kind of be where it starts. So prior to what I'm doing now, I was in the concert industry. So I was running national act concerts for a living for almost 10 years. So 8 years ago, it was kind of time to be done with that. At the time, the theater that I worked for was kind of making some changes. It was kind of time for me to change some things in my life too. So at that time, both me and my wife worked there, and we both lost our jobs from there. So both being unemployed, we thought the smartest idea was to spend a bunch of money and start a business we had no idea how to run.
I love it. So what did you do? What did that all entail? That job?
Sure. So I was the general manager. So I was the technical director. So I ran everything on stage. So sound, lights. I worked directly with the artist. I was kind of the liaison between the theater itself and whatever act it was that was coming in.
Okay.
And then on top of that, I was also the bar manager, the box office manager. I had my 40 hours a week working in the office, dealing with getting ready for the acts to come in. And then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, doing 7 a.m. load in to 2 a.m. load out.
Yeah.
So I was working 70, 80 hours a week. And it was awesome. I loved every second of it. I still do some kind of freelance stuff just to keep my, get my fill of all of that.
Yeah. I got you.
So I was kind of managing a lot of different areas within the business. It was a nonprofit, so there wasn't a ton of money going around, and that's kind of where I got my start on what I'm doing now. Like I said, it was a nonprofit, so money was kind of small. So my boss that owned the theater, super handy guy, been in a bunch of different industries himself, and he kind of taught me everything I knew. As far as repairs, we had 2,000 people in and out of there every night. So something was bound to break. Drunk concert goers are not the cleanest people in the world. So there's always something to fix, something to build, something to get ready for. Building sets for local theater stuff. So I kind of just got my hands in a lot of different remodeling things within the theater itself. A lot of the upgrades we did ourselves. So that's kind of what got my feet wet in doing this. And then when I lost my job, I was like, well, you know what? I kind of have some experience doing this, not a ton. But that's kind of what jump started me into it.
Okay. So then 10 years ago, you kind of lost the job, just some stuff happened. And then you and your wife decided, hey, let's start this business. So how did that go? How did you start? Just tell people.
So I mean the logistics of it, we just did like a legal Zoom thing. I didn't want to miss any steps as far as licensing and all that. So it was just kind of a one step and done there just to get up and running. And then a lot of people I met through the theater, I've always built relationships with people. It's always kind of been a strong suit of mine. So a lot of people, that I met through the theater process kind of found out I was doing it. And then my wife has a ginormous family. So I kind of married into a bunch of work. Once I started, my aunt wants this, my uncle wants that, my parents want this, my sister wants that. So it kind of gave me a good little jump start as far as just kind of getting some stuff done and a little less pressure because it's people I know, so they understand there's a little growth period there. And then just kind of became word of mouth.
Yeah. So you start 8 years ago, and then you just start doing it for anybody. The word of mouth starts spreading. How was it? Just you at the time, or did your wife help?
Yeah. She's always been kind of my business partner,
okay.
As far as just bouncing ideas off of when I get home at night and helping with the money and all that.
Yeah.
But no, man, it was just me grinding, every day, taking literally every job I could possibly take, just to make a dollar. I have three kids. So,
and what's their ages now?
Well, so then I only had the one. So right now I have a 9, 5, and 3-year-old.
Man, dude, that's a fun household right there. I mean, I got a 2-year-old. Yeah, I got a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, but he's already getting crazy. So you started the company 8 years ago, right? You start growing, but when did it? So you were taking on everything. Was there ever a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to be more specific on what I take, or do you still do basically any kind of home repair?
I still pretty much do everything. Now I've significantly backed off of by no means am I a handyman.
Okay.
There's an old guy business for that's retired and just wants to kind of fix your leaking sink.
Yeah.
I moved away from all of that and onto more significant projects and more difficult projects, if you will.
So you're not. So someone who has a leaking sink or something is a little wrong. You're not kind of looking for that. You're looking more of, I have an add-on and I'm doing this whole right. Okay. Yeah. So it's like a bigger project.
We do like a lot of kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, basement remodels, decks. So newer, bigger stuff. Yeah. That's not to say if I'm at your house and you need something fixed, we'll obviously do it for you. But, getting away from that, got me involved with a lot better people as well, which has worked out in the long run here.
Yeah. And I'm sure, so, if you're fixing someone's sink, right, or something small, I mean, you have to do, I'm thinking you'd have to do multiple jobs in a row. But if you're at some remodel, you're there for, a week or 2 weeks or something like that. So you're not having to even sell as many jobs too. You're just at the job property. You don't have to move your tools every time. Or I'm guessing you probably take your tools. But okay, so So the business is growing, right? So the second year of business, third year of business, how many people do you have now working for you, or how does it look now? How does the business look now?
Sure. So there's a lot of different companies around us that are big. They've got, 15, 20, 30 employees.
Okay.
And at year 4 or 5, I was like, man, do I want to like really expand and create some more overhead for myself, or do I really want to just kind of grind this out on my own? So where I'm at now is I decided I just want to kind of stay where I'm at. So I have like one guy who's pretty much full time for me, and then I have like probably 7 or 8 other guys that are part-time guys that might have another gig elsewhere, can give me 20 hours a week, can give me after-hour jobs at, places that we can get into after hours. So really, honestly, it's me and one other dude, and we crush it, just with us.
Yeah, and dude, that sounds, because I tell people all the time, like, your goals are going to change. Like, when I took over from my dad 3 years ago, my goal in 3 years was I want 10 trucks. I want, certain amount of employees to run those trucks. Now I'm like, that sounds painful.
Sure.
Like that doesn't appeal to me at all. So yeah, our goals definitely changed. But you still got, so you got one guy full time and then 7 guys part time, or throughout. 20 hours a week
throughout
or so.
the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like you have 7 guys giving you 20 hours
all at once
every week.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Cool. Gotcha. Okay. So from now and 2 years ago, where has anything grown, or have you focused on more profitable stuff? Where were you at 2 years ago, and where has the growth been from 2 years ago till now, if you get my question?
I've got a guy who is very established around here, been here for 40 years, and I've grown in relationship with him over the last 2 years or so, and I am his sole tile guy. So I'm doing every bit of tile he has for every job he has. And he's 30 times busier than I am. So on top of my own work, I've created these relationships with these bigger contractors. And there's 2 other contractors that are bigger than me that sub me for some of their demo work, some of their framing work. So that has kind of filled in those gaps, if I've had any, over the last couple of years of like, locked in work. I can have guys working. I know where I'm going to be. I can make money elsewhere where all these guys are working. So that's been awesome. Is no stress as far as finding work, because it's just kind of coming to me.
Yeah, and that's correlation. Obviously, I'm lawn care, so I like the correlation, right? So like if I can have my guys do individual yards consistently the whole week, then I can focus on, or me and my brother can focus on like the more profitable stuff, right? Where that stuff that they're doing, hey, that pays all the bills, that pays everything that I need to happen, and then this stuff over here is just like gravy, So that's huge. Like I said, and that's kind of true with us. Like in the last 3 years, like 3 years ago till now, I wouldn't say we don't have more trucks, we don't have more people, but we've grown.
Sure.
We've grown. You can see the growth.
Absolutely.
And that's true. Most people don't want 7 people working for them for a home property business and stuff. That's crazy, because like 2 years ago for you and for me, our goals were different, everything was different, and we've grown. But that's massive. So what has helped you the most, like in the the two or three things in your business, whether it's a book, podcast? Is it some maybe that person that's full time, that's a good guy, or some system or something, or Nick, for us, pumpkin plan, getting rid of those people is huge for us. So what are some of the things that have helped you? And then you think, if someone else was in your shoes 8 years ago, man, if they would have known this, they could have been where I'm at earlier.
Yeah. So for me, I know you're a Dave Ramsey guy. So I was a Ramsey guy for a while, and then I jumped on, I assume Ken Coleman.
Yeah.
So I listen to Ken Coleman all the time. I kind of backed off a little bit now, but
he's the guy with like careers, right? More focused on careers and jobs. Yeah. Loving what you're doing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got this thing called the proximity principle. I don't know if you've ever heard him talk about it.
Absolutely.
So I've been living that proximity principle since before from 15, 18 years ago, before I even knew who Ken Coleman was. He's just got a good name for it. Relationships, to answer your question, is what has helped me the most. Is building these relationships has been, I'm still getting customers now that I ran into 16 years ago at the theater, because I created some sort of relationship with those people. And those relationships have paid out, I can't even explain how well over the last 8 years of running this business. So for me, it's just getting those friends in the right places and actually listening to what they have to say, and creating those relationships with those people, because they just keep paying off if you're honest with them.
Yeah. And it doesn't even take a lot. Like that
doesn't.
person you built a relationship 18 years ago, I mean, maybe you spent 40 hours with them a week, but it might have just been one simple conversation that you were friendly, and you're like, dude, this guy, I remember this guy's name. Now he has a home remodeling business. Dude, I need something done. I'll call him. It's not like crazy, and that's how the book How to Win Friends and Influence People is about. It's like, dude, just be nice to everybody, build a relationship with people, and they'll help you out. Man, that's huge. Yeah, building relationships is man. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, and I know you've said that several times on your podcast, and every time you said that, I think of the proximity principle. Put yourself around people that can help you get better. So that's one. Two, I've got just some loyal customers, man. Over the years, I've got so many customers that just keep calling me back. We got this project now. They're just so loyal to me, which has been awesome. It makes me feel good that I'm doing a good enough job for them that they want to keep calling. So that's helped. And then I got to give the shout out to my wife. She'll probably listen to this at some point and we'd be waiting for me to say it. But no, she's been key to everything, man. Just as far as bouncing ideas off of, bouncing schedules off of, she's filling in when I got to work late to pick the kids up. And, like I said, she's my business partner. So it's, having that has just been, somebody who supports me through.
Yeah. Did I lose you?
Nope. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. So with me, and I've told people before, I've told my wife, like, me coaching basketball and with the business, there's times where, I'm gone all day. And I got to work on Saturdays, or I'm at for basketball specifically, I'm at a tournament and I'm away from, and like, I've never heard her complain about it. I've never heard, if she complains about it, she's joking. Like, oh man, you got to go to work. Like she's just messing. But that's huge, man, because I don't know if I could run a business at times without that.
Oh, no way.
With someone who wasn't on board and who wasn't, because for me specifically, the last 3 years, it's not like I've made more money. I've actually made less money than what I was before, because I'm building a business, and she understood that, and she sacrificed, and that's probably true with you, man. That's probably true with you. So you got relationships, obviously, and then your wife, and then loyal customers, because those loyal customers talk, man. Those loyal customers talk.
Well, exactly. On that note, like, I've never spent, over the 8 years, because of loyal customers, I've not spent $1 on marketing my entire career here.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I have T-shirts for the business and an Instagram page, you know what I mean? But I've not spent $1 on like guerrilla marketing or anything whatsoever, which has been incredible, a huge blessing. Yeah,
and your marketing strategy is, I'm going to take care of my customers.
Exactly.
I'm going to be friendly to everybody. And then, if you're friendly to someone and you're wearing a hat that has your company on it, what is that? It's just like marketing, Yeah, those are good things that I think everybody could learn from, right? I mean, you need to get a good wife. I mean, that's kind of for people that are single, but you need to get a good wife. But then, you need to have loyal customers. Then you got to have friends that you make friendships with and relationships with. So what is something that you're doing now different than when you started? Like for us, right, we don't do big HOAs. We were doing those 8, 9, 10 years ago. We were going in Illinois. Like, that's specifically things that we don't do that we do now, or we did back then and we don't do now. So what are some of the things? I mean, it could be financial, it could be goals, it could be services, things that you do, but anything come to mind?
Yeah, I heard you talking about, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but not going to Illinois. Like, I around us, so I'm in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. So outside of us, like, we're an hour and a half from Philly, we're an hour from the Lehigh Valley, we're an hour from Scranton, we're an hour from all these big areas. And there's just too much competition in those areas. And I was trying to kind of drive some business in some of those directions, but it doesn't, there's too much going on. So I've kind of scaled my radius down to specifically where I'm at, which has helped. So that's kind of different over the last 2 years. And honestly, now I'm trying to integrate a little more. I got an app recently, which is something I've been searching for like years, that can really help me on job sites as far as just efficiency, with communicating with the guys, addresses for where we're headed, just material lists, pictures of what we're doing. And that has helped. Honestly, I've only been using that for a few months now, but already and my wife can see all that on her end. Yeah. So she can see the financial side of it. So like that, just as far as like continuity, that has been so much different just in the last like 6 months, and that's helped me a lot.
And specifically, what is that app called? And like, so if you
Sure.
like if you dispatch a job to them, maybe you can put on, this is the tools you need. Is that kind of what it does, or what is exactly?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's called ProBuild.
Okay.
And it almost works like a social media app. So like up at the top is just like, here's the address, here's the customer's name. And then on there is a time clock too. So like when they clock in the morning, they just click on whatever job site they're going to. So now I know that they're on, this bathroom at this time. And then on there, you could just post and comment just like social media. So you could post a picture when you're done working on something. You can comment, hey, tomorrow we need 10 more 2x4, whatever.
Nice.
So it's just, so instead of texting and having hours, sent it, like not everyone comes to my house in the morning. They might meet you at a job site. So it just is kind of like, cross the T's and dotted the I's, a lot of those open things that were always just kind of annoying and not efficient for me. Yeah,
that's what, like for us, we have apps for the guys, the crew leaders, right? So we dispatch them 20 yards. And on that, so they, Service Autopilot does a great job, and they're good for us, but what we need. And then, boom, they just work down the list, this address, then this address. And then if there's something specifically that they need to do, like when you start the clock, boom, it shows up in the notes. Hey, make sure you trim around this random thing, do. And then, boom, they start it, and they clock out of that specific yard. And then you could see, okay, it took them 10 minutes to mow the yard, which is valuable because, like, let's say we think this yard should take us 10 minutes, but over the course of the whole year, it took them 17 minutes average. Well, we need to go up in price, clearly, Or you can look at it and be like, hey, why did this take you 30 minutes this time? It's like, well, this happened. Well, we had to bag. Okay, we need to charge more. So, technology is crazy, man. We didn't have technology. Oh, yeah,
it's so helpful.
Yeah, we didn't use technology like 3 years ago, and now I don't know why we didn't. It's helped us. It's helped us so much. So, that's huge. Anything else that comes to mind that you do different that from when you started, or is that the big thing that comes to mind?
That's the main thing. I mean, I'm constantly figuring out ways to be more efficient. I have a job trailer that I pull every day, and man, if I sent you a picture of the thing, I'm the most anal, person about this job trailer. If everything's not back to where I say, where its place is, man, I go nuts. So just I see some of these guys pull up to Home Depot and Lowe's and wherever else, and they open up the back of their truck, and it's like, how the heck do they even find anything?
Yeah, like how do you get the job done? Like you're spending 30 minutes looking for your tools. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And that's kind of like me. You might be more than me, but that's kind of like me. So being organized.
Yeah, and I've always kind of been that way. It hasn't been too much different, but I'm always changing something to be just a little bit more efficient. So
yeah. There's in our garage here we have at one point a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, before I took over, there is when the guys came in and they put their weed eaters and blowers away, right? They would just be in wherever. So now we have racks, and it literally on our blowers there's blue tape. And then there's a slot for the blue blower. Like if it's in the if you didn't put in the right spot, and we're going to clearly see, and it's just not going to be. It's just not the most efficient way. So that's huge. So before I ask you a couple more questions, is there any book? Yeah. Is there a book that you've read in the last couple years that'd be like, hey man, this book like really helped me, or a podcast?
Podcast. I never read.
Or listen to. I know, but yeah.
The podcast has been a big one. Honestly, I'm all over the map with them. I couldn't even point one out, but like between yours, Coleman's, there's been some other ones that I just like. it's just a lot of business and leadership type podcasts.
Yeah.
I've been super obsessed with listening to them over the last couple of years. Just to get little pointers here and there. It might not be about construction. That's why I emailed you. I know we don't go hand in hand with our trades, but we're still both tradesmen. We're still both running businesses, and I know a lot of people can pull what they specifically need out of these things. So I just think it's cool to listen to a lot of different ones.
Yeah, but like you're in a different industry, but the things you mentioned, right? You condensed your area. That's what we did, right? You're organized. Yep. That's what we did. You use technology. We're not the same, but and even like that's why that was one reason why I didn't call it the Good All's Lawn Care Show, because I didn't want people to look at it and be like, "Hey, look, this is just lawn care." No, I want
I don't do lawn care.
Yeah, my friend, he was from real estate. I had him on. I want it almost to be every other week. There's someone else that's not from lawn care. So what is the biggest struggle you're dealing with right now? Are you dealing with something specific, or is everything
finding help?
Everything. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Trying to find. And so one of the other podcasts I was listening to is a guy who like super pushes Indeed.com. And I think that might be somewhere where I need to head next, is just trying to find, the guys I have are great. Some of them are skilled. Some of them are not, which I need both. Sometimes I just need someone to pick something up and put it down.
Yeah.
But trying to find another me to where I really truly can leave them in another site. The guy that I have full time, he can pretty much be that, but he's also a musician, so he's got a lot of touring he does. So I don't have him necessarily full time all the time. So just trying to find that good help, man, to where I can trust them with my customers is my biggest struggle right now.
Yeah. So we tried Indeed a couple years ago. And we even tried it last year, but and it was fine. We got tons of candidates. The problem was we got tons of candidates, so we got like 50 people. 50 people applying, and you can filter it down for sure, But I had 20 interviews, and then it's like, dude, what do? I just randomly pick one. Like all of them are kind of blended together. And then I hired a couple guys, and then obviously I thought they were good. They worked a couple weeks, and then COVID happened. This was before COVID. And they were getting paid about the same, not about the same, but a decent amount just to stay home. So I mean that's true, man. Finding help, even for us, right? Like that's that is one of the reasons why 10 crews doesn't sound very nice to me, because that's 20 guys that I have to find and finding better ways to grow is huge. I think if I were to ask 50% of the businesses, man, that's the number one thing they'd say. You gotta have help, because there's a company in our area where they're the biggest company probably in Cherville for sure, and they got. Last year they had 5 trucks sitting in their lot because they didn't have guys, and then they had to condense. They couldn't get all their yards done. So, I mean, help is huge. And I heard someone talk about how finding friends and family, going friends and family first, and then working out is nice. But you run out of friends and family, and these friends and family got jobs.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. And I've done that, and that's pretty much all I've done. And it works, and then it doesn't, and then it works, and then they're gone. So it's like right now I'm booked through like May, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, it's a great problem." It's a great problem, but I'm grinding, trying to, and I don't like telling people, "Oh, I'll be there in 5 months." I'd rather be like, "All right, I'll be there in a month," and I just don't have the manpower to do that.
Yeah.
I've had understanding customers, which is great.
Yeah. And there's guys. There's a guy that in my church that he there's a bunch of guys in my church that do home repairs and stuff. And he told me like last year, he's like, "Man, I mean, I'm booked out for 6 months." I just I tell them, and they're fine with that. But then I think. They're going to look for someone else, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, I'm booked out for 6 months." So it goes hand in hand. So what is the goal? Any goals you have for 2022? I mean, not like specific, but any goals that you're like, man, I want to kind of reach that.
Yeah. So my efficiency, as far as like my day-to-day working, is phenomenal. My efficiency on my administrative side is a whole other animal. Just as far as man, I have to get ready for taxes this year, and I got a freaking cardboard box the size of my house full of receipts, and I don't do them every week or month, and now I'm going to sit here for 9 days typing receipts up. and I hate doing that, and my wife always gets on me about that. But so, the administrative side, I absolutely need to get a little more efficient at this year. So I'm already, I'm only 21 days into the year, but I'm a little better than I was last year. So, that's one. And then another goal for me, honestly, I'm getting ready in 2 days to leave for Tampa. Me and my full-time guy are doing a huge job down in Tampa.
And how long will that take?
So the traveling, I'm 3.5 weeks, 3 to 3.5 weeks.
Nice.
It's a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing. They just could trust us to come down there, and we're from Pennsylvania, so we're driving all the way down to Florida. So these traveling gigs, I've done a few of them at this point, and they're really cool, and they're well worth it financially, and so I kind of this year I'm gonna make a goal to have a few more of those.
So like, I put a goal,
kind of a niche thing.
Yeah, like at the end of the year, be like, hey, I did 4 travel jobs or whatever. Man,
exactly, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
And they pay for your travel and stuff, or how does that work?
They pay for the travel.
Man, that's sweet.
Yeah, they pay for the travel, and it's the word of mouth thing. It's like, what? I know I could find someone down here in Tampa, but my friend up there in Kentucky, which is where we did one last year, said you guys were phenomenal. I trust her, so I'd rather you guys come down here and just know that you're going to do a great job. And so
that's what's up. That'd be cool. I mean, you get a little travel too, man. That's
well, sweet. It's 9 degrees here. It's 79 there. So
and then you're doing that job soon, right?
Yeah, we're leaving on Sunday, driving down, and we'll be down there for a few weeks.
Yeah, and so that's a big goal, like something you could look for. Man, I'd like to do 4 of these or whatever, 2 or 3.
Exactly.
That's sweet. So the administration side, the receipts, practically, that was a problem for us, man. And I don't know if there's anybody. So I heard this quote one time, and this is like, I got like one more question for you after this, but
sure.
One, there was someone said if you can pay somebody like $12 an hour to do the job that you're doing, then you're working for $12 an hour. So that I really took that to heart with like some of the office work. So like I hired, a guy, he's a kid, and one person had a kid, another person had a little secretary for a couple days a week, and they took care of all the receipts. I showed them how to do it. And it was nice, man. Like, if you could find somebody, man, maybe you're, like a niece or nephew, like, hey, this is what you have to do to do it in. And you got to double check at the beginning. But that was huge for us. I don't know if that's something that could work out for you. But say, hey.
No, it's a phenomenal idea.
Because I don't want to do receipts, and I don't want
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's a pain, and I hate it. I hate doing it. So I'm like, hey, how can I figure this out? So that has really helped. So the last question I got for you, is there something – advice you would give somebody 8 years ago or 15 that you were at your spot 15 years ago or 8 years ago and say, hey, if I would have known this, or some motivation, you say, hey, this could really help you if you're starting a business like specifically a home remodeling business. If you're specifically that, what is something that you would give advice to or some motivation for?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, battle through the tough ones, man. I remember I had a house with my wife when I first started, and she wanted me to hang some shelf in the house with those stupid little plastic, wall anchors. And I couldn't, the hole was too big. The shelf fell. I'm like, I can't even hang a shelf in my own house. How in the world am I going to build a kitchen for something, And I just had to grind through the fact that I wasn't going to know how to do everything. And here I am 8 years later, I'm building custom kitchens for people and custom basements. And, there's some really frustrating. I lost a lot of money when I first started. I made a ton of mistakes. I went back. The last thing I want to do on a job is go back to a house. Once I'm done with it, I never want to go back again until the next project starts to fix something. So, I can't tell you how many times I had to go back to houses. So it's just, stick in the path and know you're going to make mistakes, but do right by the customer and make it right no matter what. Because some of those mistakes I made when I was, younger 8 years ago, I still have those customers because they battled through with me knowing, hey, I really like this guy. He made a mistake, but he made it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's exactly right. I know you emailed me and you said you started small, and that's huge too. I mean, you don't have to start with custom kitchens, like
no,
in your
no, not at
situation,
all.
you're starting with fixing a sink, and then
That's
growing
it.
growing from there. That's
Yep.
that's huge. So definitely, if you can, I mean, if you got some pictures, I could throw this up on the YouTube for sure. Like as we're
Okay.
talking, I could throw up pictures of before and afters, any videos, like something like
Sure.
that. You could just definitely email me or probably send it to the phone so we can get these guys looking at it, because maybe there's someone watching who needs something done. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know we're not the same industry, but that's not what I want for this podcast. I don't want it to be all
Yeah.
lawn care. When on YouTube, when people are watching, I like having someone there. The one video I did with someone there, they can actually just not watch me talk.
Sure.
So when I can throw pictures up before and afters and videos,
Sure.
it's nice for people to see. So, hey Scott,
Okay.
I appreciate it, man. I know 2022 is probably going to be amazing for you, man. I hope it's for me. I hope it's for you. So,
Yeah, you too, bro.
yeah, I appreciate it. 8 years ago you
Hey, good
started.
talking to you.
Yep, 8 years ago you
Yeah.
started, and now you're at where you're at. Appreciate it, man.
That's what's up. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Have a good one, Scott. Bye.
You too.
Dude, man, I feel like anybody can start any business they want. Like I really do. Like I don't think it's that complicated. I don't think it's that hard. He started out fixing a sink that was leaking. And yes, he had some experience, but he had to start somewhere. Like he didn't know how to fix a sink at some point in his life. And now he's doing custom remodels. And now he's from Pennsylvania, and he's traveling to Tampa Bay to do a custom work because someone talked, and then they told a friend, and now he's in Pennsylvania traveling and getting paid to travel down to do a custom remodel. So great conversation, man. That was fun. He answered those questions and he went through them, and I think if you were to watch that, you were to learn something, and if you did learn something, share it. So I talked about before the conversation, I wanted to say how I pay myself, and it's nothing magical, it's nothing specific, but I didn't do this before. So now I do. So before, the first year I took over the business, I would pay myself a check, right? And I would take taxes out. And I got a W-2. And my thinking was, and what I was told is, at the end of the year, I'll get my tax return, just like everybody else, right? I got a kid, got a wife, got expenses, so I'll get a tax return, $3,000 tax return, like most people do with kids and stuff. I got to the end of the year, and then the taxes we owed for the business was X amount of dollars. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to pay this out of the business, then I'll get my tax return for my personal. But everything just got swooped in, right? And the money that I was going to get back from the tax return, it just subtracted how much we had to pay in taxes for the business. So I'm like, I'm not doing that again. So I talked to my accountant, and he's like, yeah, just take a draw every week. So I take a draw, write myself a check, and whatever that amount of money is. I don't take taxes out, pay taxes at the end of the year, just like the business does. How much do we owe in the business? Pay that check. But how much do I pay myself? At the beginning, it was a salary, $500 a week, because I was trying to grow. I was trying to be frugal, and I wasn't trying to rob the business. I wanted to make as much money for the business and grow the business as possible, as good as possible, and I do not regret that at all. I think that is one of the reasons why the business is so strong now, because I sacrificed for 3 years, and that's what you need to do. This is not on subject. This is not what on topic, but if you're taking so much money away from the business because you just want to live your life, fine. But if this business is suffering because your personal life, your personal finances are too out of whack, they need to change it. So what I do with my brother is we pay ourselves a percentage. So the smaller you are, right? I mean, if you're making $100,000 a year, you can't pay yourself 10%. What do you bring in? I mean, you're only making $10,000, unless you have another job. So the more you make, the less percentage you need to be. So I'm at 7%, 8% of what we bring in. And I pay myself. So if the business makes less, I make less. If the business makes more, I make more. Same thing with my brother. He's a little bit more because, he does more in the business, as in the mowing part, than I do. So it's not magical, but that's what I do. I pay myself a percentage of what comes in. And like I said, if the business does more that week, I make more. If it does less, then I do less. And that percentage, you gotta tweak it, right? I mean, you gotta feel like, am I taking too much out of the business? Am I hurting the business? But then also you gotta say, I gotta take enough home to pay the bills. I really think that has worked really well for us. And maybe down the road, I'm gonna change it, and maybe I'm gonna pay myself 52 weeks, a certain salary all year round. But as of right now, we don't make any money in the winter, and I can't just pay myself the same amount of money I make in the summer. I really like the idea of taking a percentage of what comes in from the business. So if I go out and grind, if I push, if we sell more, if we do more jobs, I'm making more. If not, I'm making less. I hope this podcast helped, guys. We're almost at 2,000 downloads. We were at 1,000 downloads a week ago. I mean, a week and a half ago. We almost doubled in downloads in the last 2 weeks, and I think it's helping. And I do think it's going to help more in the spring when people are thinking about lawn care and thinking about business. But I appreciate you guys listening. If you guys want to get on a call, like I said, message me on Instagram, message me at thegoodallshow@gmail.com. Remember the book of the week, How the Mighty Fall by Jim Collins, and pick it up. If you're not in a habit of reading, if you're in a habit of listening to music, dude, stop listening to music. Listen to a book. That could change your life. Music can get your mind out of it, and you can listen to a couple 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day. But turn on a book, man. Get an Audible account. Start paying monthly for an Audible account, 2 credits. That would be the biggest investment that you can make. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Keep growing. Keep grinding. If this has helped you, share it. If it hasn't helped you, like I say every week, share it. If you hate me, share it. If you love me, share it. Because there's a lot of haters out there. Just share it. Just comment. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.